Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khohai Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is from Var Rag Maj Mahalla Pehla, the 26th Pauri. Slok Mahalla Pehla, Sir Khohai Piahey Malvani, Jhutha Mang Mang Khai, ਫੋਲ ਬਦੀਹਤ ਮੂਹੇ ਲੈਨ ਪੜਾਸਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੇਖ ਸੰਗਾਹੀ ਭੇਡਾਂ ਵਾਂਗੀ ਸਿਰ ਖੋਹਾਇਨ ਤਰੀਨ ਹੱਥ ਸੁਹਾਹੀ ਮਾਓ ਪਿਓ ਕਿਰਤ ਗਵਾਇਨ ਟੱਬਰ ਰੋਵਣ ਢਾਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਪਿੰਡ ਨ ਪੱਤਲ ਕਿਰਿਆ ਨਾ ਦੀਵਾ ਬੋਏ ਕਿਥਾਹੂ ਪਾਹੀ 68 ਤੀਰਥ ਦੇਨ ਨ ਢੋਈ ਬ੍ਰਾਹਮਣ ਅੰਨ ਨ ਖਾਈ ਸਦਾ ਕੁਚੀਲ ਰਹੇ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤੀ ਮੱਥੇ ਟਿਕੇ ਨਾਹੀ ਝੁੰਡੀ ਭਾਏ ਬਹਿਨ ਨਿਤ ਮਰਨੇ ਦੜ ਦੀਵਾਨ ਨਾ ਜਾਹੀ ਲੱਕੀ ਕਾਸੇ ਹੱਤੀ ਫੁੰਮਣ ਅੱਗੋਂ ਪਿੱਛੀ ਜਾਹੀ ਨਾ ਓਏ ਜੋਗੀ ਨਾ ਓਏ ਜੰਗਮ ਨਾ ਓਏ ਕਾਜੀ ਮੂਲਾ ਦੇ ਵਿਗੋਏ ਫਿਰੇ ਵਿਗੁੱਤੇ ਫਿੱਟਾਂ ਵੱਤੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਜੀ ਮਾਰ ਜਿਵਾਲੇ ਸੋਈ ਅਵਰ ਨ ਕੋਈ ਰਾਖੈ ਦਾਨੋ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਨਾਨੋ ਵੰਜੈ ਬਸ ਪਈ ਸਿਰ ਖੁੱਥੈ ਪਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਰਤਨ ਉਪੰਨੇ ਮੇਰ ਕੀਆ ਮਾਧਾਣੀ 68 ਤੀਰਥ ਦੇਵੀ ਥਾਪੇ ਪੂਰਬੀ ਲਗੇ ਬਾਣੀ ਨਾ ਨਿਵਾਜਾ ਨਾਤੇ ਪੂਜਾ ਨਾਵਨ ਸਦਾ ਸੁਜਾਨੀ ਮੋਇਆਂ ਜੀਵਨ ਦਿਆਂ ਗਤੀ ਹੋਵੈ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਰ ਪਾਈਏ ਪਾਣੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਿਰ ਖੁੱਤੇ ਸੈਤਾਨੀ ਇੰਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਨਾ ਭਾਨੀ ਉੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੋਏ ਬਿਲਾਵਲ ਜੀ ਜੁਗਤ ਸਮਾਨੀ ਉੱਠੇ ਅੰਨ ਕਮਾਦ ਕਪਾਹਾ ਸਭ ਸੇ ਪੜਦਾ ਹੋਵੈ ਉੱਠੇ ਘਾਹ ਚਰੇ ਨਿਤ ਸੁਰਹੀ ਸਾਧਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਿਲੋਵੈ ਉੱਠੇ ਘਾਹ ਚਰੇ ਨਿਤ ਸੁਰਹੀ ਸਾ ਧਨ ਦੇਹੀ ਬਿਲੋਵੈ ਤਿਤ ਕੀ ਹੋਮ ਜਗ ਸਦ ਪੂਜਾ ਪਾਈਏ ਕਾਰਜ ਸੋ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਮੁੰਦ ਨਦੀ ਸਭ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਨਾਤੇ ਜਿਤ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਨਾਨਕ ਜੇ ਸਿਰ ਖੁੱਥੇ ਨਾਵਨ ਨਾਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਸਤ ਚੱਟੇ ਸਿਰਹਿ ਛਾਈ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਦੂਜਾ ਅੱਗੀ ਪਾਲਾ ਕਹਿ ਕਰੇ ਸੂਰਜ ਕੇ ਹੀ ਰਾਤ ਚੰਦ ਹਨੇਰਾ ਕਹਿ ਕਰੇ ਪਾਉਣ ਪਾਣੀ ਕਿਆ ਜਾਤ ਧਰਤੀ ਚੀਜੀ ਕਹਿ ਕਰੇ ਜਿਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਹੋਏ ਨਾਨਕ ਤਾਂ ਪਤ ਜਾਣੀਐ ਜਾਂ ਪਤ ਰੱਖੈ ਸੋਏ ਪੌੜੀ ਤੁਧ ਸੱਚੇ ਸੁਭਾਨ ਸਦਾ ਕਲਾਣਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਸੱਚਾ ਦੀਬਾਨ ਹੋਰ ਆਵਣ ਜਾਣਿਆ ਸੱਚ ਜੈ ਮੰਗਹਿ ਦਾਨ ਜੀ ਤੁਧੇ ਜਿਹਾ ਸੱਚ ਤੇਰਾ ਫੁਰਮਾਨ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਸੋਹਿਆ ਮਨੀਐ ਗਿਆਨ ਧਿਆਨ ਤੁਧੇ ਤੇ ਪਾਇਆ ਕਰਮ ਪਵੈ ਨੀਸਾਨ ਨਾ ਚਲੇ ਚਲਾਇਆ ਤੂੰ ਸੱਚਾ ਦਾਤਾਰ ਨਿਤ ਦੇਵੇਂ ਚੜੇ ਸਵਾਇਆ ਨਾਨਕ ਮੰਗੇ ਦਾਨ ਜੋ ਤੁਧ ਪਾਇਆ The 26th Pauri, somewhat longish in comparison to the ones adjacent to it. And there's quite a few ideas packed in it. It starts off with Guruji speaking of various sects. I mean, commonly we think that he's addressing the Jains, but it seems to me that he's addressing more than just the Jains. He's actually talking about a lot of the practices that he's seeing around him, and he's commenting on them, and that includes the Jains as well. So he starts off in the first salok by saying they pluck their hair, sir khohai. They drink dirty water, piye Malvani, and they beg for leftovers to eat, jhutha mang mang khai. And then, fol fidahat mohi lan padasa. They inhale the smell of waste by scattering it. There's this practice of actually, with a stick, moving about excreta and then inhaling the vapors. So they do all of this, but pani dekh sangahi, they shy away from fresh water. And their heads are sheared like sheep, peda wangi sir khwayan, and their hands are filled with ash. So these are practices that the Guru is mentioning, obviously practices that he's observed and occur around him. And there's more to come. Not only are these practices quite out of the ordinary, but Mao Pyo Kirta Gawayan Tabbar Rovan Tahi, the impact that they have on their families and society at large, because he says they have renounced their familial duties, Mao Pyo Kirta Gawayan, and they have left their dependents to wail around, to cry aloud, Tabbara Rovan Tahi. So this is a description, a picture of the various things that people were doing in their search for the truth, I guess. Unna pind na pattal kirya na diva moe kitha hu pai 68 tirath den na toy brahman anna khai. And they are not necessarily Hindu sects or Hindu practices. Everything is in some senses a Hindu practice if it comes from India, but he's talking about Brahmanic practices. So what he says is that these people shun the practice of offering rice balls on banana leaves to dead ancestors, which is a very common practice of honoring one's dead ancestors. So he says, Ona pind na pattal kirya. So they don't do this activity. Na diva, nor do they light lamps. And he just asks a question, where are their dead placed? Moe kithau pai. And then he adds that the pilgrimages do not offer them refuge. The den na toi. And the Brahmin does not accept their offering of food. Brahman anna khai. Clearly, these are not mainstream sects because the Brahmin is refusing their offering. And more to come. Sada kuchil rahe din rati. They never eat, they remain unclean forever, untidy. Sada kuchil. They do not apply the frontal mark on their forehead. Mathe tikke nahi. And here is an odd one. They always sit with their heads resting on their knees, chundi pae bahan neta, as if in mourning. They do not congregate either as a sangat, dar divan na jahi. With begging bowls tied to their waists, lucky kase, and brooms in their hands, hathi fumman. They move in a single file, aggon piche jahi. Now this suggests a Jain sect because they tend to sweep the floor before they step on the ground because they take the idea of non-violence to such extremes that they do not wish to even step on a worm or any kind of creature or insect. And so therefore symbolically they carry these pumman, as he says, these brooms in front of them, and they tend to walk in a single file. So that there's another aspect to this, that they want to walk in a single file following the leader, stepping where the leader is stepping. And the Guru clarifies, he says, they are neither yogis, na oe yogi, or ascetics, na oe yogi, na oe changam. Nor are they Muslims, na oe kaji mullah. But this thing is for sure, they're separated from the Creator, dai vigoe, meaning they have gone astray. They wander aimlessly. Fire vigutte, like a herd, a disgraced herd. But this is all the play of the Creator, the one doer. And Guruji says, Ji mare jwale soi avar na koi rakhe. Dano te isnano vanje pasapai ser khutte. Well, all that happens, all the activity that happens occurs because of that one doer, soi. There is no other protector. But some of us, like these sects, are devoid of charity and cleanliness, walk around with our heads full of ash. And now he touches on the mythology of the churning of the ocean, where the mountain was used as a staff to churn the ocean, and 14 jewels, so to speak, qualities emerged, were churned out. And the pilgrimages established to chant hymns in glory of God. And then he switches to the benefits of water as far as cleanliness is concerned. And he says, Nai Nivaja Nate Puja Navan Sada Sujani. Now he's talking about Muslims and Hindus. The Muslim prayer, he says, Nivaja, the obeisance, is offered after the hands and feet are cleaned, the limbs are washed. Nai Nivaja. The Hindu worship is performed after a bath, Nate Puja. And so what he's saying is that the wise always maintain cleanliness. Navan Sada Sujani. And many, he says, believe that freedom from the cycle of birth and death, Mue Jeevdeya Gati Hove, is obtained by pouring water over one's head. Sir Paya Pani. And yet, says Nanak, the ones with plucked hair, Sir Khutte, have gone astray. Shaitani. Shaitan is having gone astray. We refer to Shaitan as the devil, but the devil simply has gone astray from the path. These people, he says, do not like the idea of cleaning. Ina galana pani. Then he brings up the idea of water in the form of rain, and how with rain comes a sense of flowering, for water is the source of life. Ji jugt savani. When it rains, grain, sugarcane, and cotton grows. Anna kamad kapa, which in turn, cotton, provides clothing for all. Sabse parda hove. And rainfall enables the cows to graze and provide milk, and the milk in turn allows the housewife to churn butter, and from that butter clarified ghee is used for worship. In other words, water is the source of all life. It actually triggers the cycle of life. Similarly, the Guru enlightener, is an ocean of wisdom, the water of wisdom. And its teachings are like rivers. Gur samund, nadi sab sikhi. Nate jit vadiyai. By bathing in the river of the Guru enlightener's teachings, one gets the gift of self-actualization. Nate jit vadiyai. Vadiyai is greatness, and it is a symbol for self-realization. And Guruji says, if these hair pluckers do not bathe in wisdom, then 7 cups of ash should be poured over their heads. In other words, their practices should be condemned because they are not serving any good purpose by remaining dirty and avoiding even keeping their bodies clean, not to mention the fact that they're completely misled. And the only way that one can gain honor, he says, is if one is honored by the Creator, that is self-realization. And so he concludes in the Pauri by saying, Tud Sache Subhan Sada Kalanya, I sing to the glory of the beautiful Eternal One. You are eternal, all else comes and goes. Sacha Diban, Hor Aman Jania. I beg for the benediction of self-awareness. Sach je mange daan se tudde jeha. True is your law, understood through the sabad, which is the discourse of the enlightener. Sach tera furman sabde sohiya. Awareness, focus, and knowledge, all of these flow from you. Manne, Gyan, Dhyan, Tudde te paya. It comes from the self. Through your compassion is the sign of self-knowledge received. Karma pave Nisan. Nisan, again, symbolic of self-knowledge. And once you see the signs of self-knowledge, it cannot be lost or stolen. Because you are the eternal giver. Tu a-sabad-a-day. You give continuously and evermore. Tu a-sabad-a-day nit devein, continually. Chade savaya, more and more. Nanak mangay daan, jo tud paya. What is the gift that Nanak seeks? Jo tud paya, meaning whatever is in harmony with you. That is to say, whatever brings me in harmony with your hukam, that gift I seek. Because that ultimately is the crux of Sikhi. On that note, until the next time, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.